From late June to the middle of July this year, I was on a vacation in Japan and I picked up a lot of interesting things, like visual novels, anime, manga, and games. So in this video, I want to showcase these things. First off, I'll start with visual novels. I managed to pick up a lot of interesting visual novels that are very highly regarded, so I'm really looking forward to reading them. So far, I have read through Majikoi S and I have gotten into Majikoi A, though there is still a lot left to read. So yeah, I have a lot of Japanese reading material now. Majikoi S comes with an art book and comes on 2 discs, while Majikoi A has most of the content on 1 disc but also has a bonus disc. The content on the bonus disc is not available online, so that's a bit of a special thing with the physical edition. One thing I found interesting about Majikoi was the price. Majikoi S goes for about 1,000 yen, whereas Majikoi A goes for about 10,000 yen. I would definitely recommend the Majikoi series as it has some great characters as well as really good comedy. The original Majikoi visual novel is available in English officially, though if you want to get this version, I would recommend getting the Japanese patch for voice acting, as this release does not come with voice acting for all characters due to licensing issues. The next one here is Ayoku no Estia. This is a very highly regarded visual novel that I think looks interesting. I would not recommend going for the digital edition of this visual novel, as it comes with DMM Game Player, which is an absolutely horrible DRM. The physical edition also comes with a very nice art book. Next is Irotoridori no Sekai HD Regeneration, which is a trilogy of visual novels. I already had these visual novels before, but a lower resolution version, and I wanted to upgrade to the HD version before I read them. One thing notable about this release is that it comes in a DVD case. While these visual novels are in big boxes, they usually come in CD cases. I also found the discs to be very nice looking. They're very shiny, at least when you look at them in real life. I also got the remastered edition of Nukitachi 1 and 2. This is a very new release and it actually came out when I was in Japan. From what I could see, the differences between the originals is mostly quality of life, as well as this including an appendix. There seems to be a bit of a controversy around the translation of Nukitachi to English, so I'm glad that I could just read it in Japanese and avoid all of that. Then there is Hoshiori Yume Mirai, which is very plain on the inside. I got this because I really enjoyed another visual novel from the same company called Gin Iro Haruka. The last visual novel I got was the extended edition of White Album 2. This comes in a much smaller box, but it has 2 DVD cases and it's a lot more compact. The visual novel is the 3rd highest rated visual novel on Visual Novel Database, so I really look forward to reading it. As for games, I got Hatsune Miku Future Tone, as well as another Hatsune Miku game. I already had Future Tone digitally, but I wanted a physical edition. I also got Higurashi and Umeneko physically because I wanted to have a physical version of the console release. I also got the limited edition of Neptunia V2, which is my favorite Neptunia game. Unfortunately, this is the last main series game in the Neptunia franchise, and it has gone downhill since then. Anyways, the limited edition is really nice on this one. I also got the 4th generation of Pokemon, which is my favorite generation, especially the remakes of the 2nd generation, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I also got Black and White 2, which are considered the best of the 5th generation. I also got all of the 3rd generation, including the remake of the 1st generation. In my opinion, the Pokemon games really started to decline in quality after the 5th generation, so it is nice to have what I consider to be the peak of Pokemon. One thing I noticed when trying out the games is that the 3rd and 4th generation is only written in hiragana and katakana. Kanji is only available from the 5th generation onwards as an optional mode. The anime that I decided to pick up on Blu-ray is Saikano as well as Katanagatari. For Saikano, I only picked up the second season and the movie. The reason I didn't get the Blu-ray for the first season is that I already have the English release. In my opinion, the Japanese Blu-ray releases are very beautiful, though they do come with a heavy price. If you buy them at retail value, they are extremely expensive. Luckily, on the second-hand market, they don't tend to be nearly as expensive, though they do tend to be more expensive than buying a English release. For this price, you do get something that really looks good though. I enjoy all of the cover art, and I really enjoy the box that the second season came in. Katanagatari I got in 4 big boxes, with each of them having 3 Blu-rays. From my understanding, you got a ticket with each of the Blu-rays. So if you got the one for 1, 2, and 3, you would get a box set that contained all of them. In my opinion, the outer box sets as well as the Blu-rays inside are really beautiful. In each Blu-ray box, there is 1 episode, though these episodes are 40 minutes long. Considering that all of these 4 box sets in total only contains 12 episodes, this is quite a lot compared to the amount of content. This is a really cool release, and it is maybe my favorite thing that I picked up in Japan, though this is very much a collector's item. Considering how much space this takes up for just 1 series of anime, collecting anime like this would quickly take up a lot of space. I got this for about 20,000 yen, which isn't that bad considering what I got, but it is of course a bit expensive still. It was quite hard to find this. I actually looked around at anime Blu-rays quite a lot and didn't manage to find it before the second last day I was in Japan. I managed to find it in Nakano Broadway, which I would definitely recommend to go to if you are in Tokyo. Of course, after you've been to Akiba. The sets also came with extra artwork as well as some cards, so it really felt like a premium set. Lastly, I'll go through the manga that I got. I got all of Kaguya-sama as well as all of Dragon Ball. Kaguya-sama is one of my favorite anime, but I haven't read all of the manga, so I'm really looking forward to go through it all. I do think that the manga covers looks pretty nice. They're not my favorite covers of all time, but they do have a pretty good look to them. I especially like the way that they use the hearts, usually in the eyes. When I looked up the English releases, I found out that they had removed these hearts, which I think is really bad. This is a very important part of the design of the covers, so removing it makes it not look nearly as good in my opinion. I guess it has to do with the English text versus the Japanese text, but still, I think they should have managed to find some ways to incorporate it. There is also some content under the dust cover, which I assume was cut for the English release. Most of them seem to center around Chica. Lastly, I got all of Dragon Ball, which goes from volume 1 to 42. In the English release of the Dragon Ball manga, it is split into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, whereas in Japanese, it is just Dragon Ball. Some other notable differences between the English and Japanese release is of course the lack of red spines. All of the Japanese releases have a white spine. All English releases of Dragon Ball are also censored, whereas the Japanese release is not censored at all. To my knowledge, most of the censorship is nudity in early Dragon Ball, primarily censorship of Bulma. As you can see, the covers hiding behind the dust covers in Dragon Ball are not really that interesting. It's all just the same illustration. Well, these were the things I bought in Japan. I hope that you found the video interesting and that you learned more about the Japanese releases of physical visual novels, manga, and anime. Thanks for watching the video.